Welcome to Chasing Fabulous, the show where we dive into the fun and exciting world of luxury, style, and sophistication. Join us as we explore what it really means to live a fabulous life, from amazing places to inspiring people and unforgettable experiences. Get ready to be hooked as we uncover the essence of fabulousness in every episode. Each adventure brings new stories and surprises, showing you how to add a touch of fabulous to your own life. Let's chase down the extraordinary together.
Hey everybody, welcome to Chasing Fabulous. It's Monica and Linda.
Hello.
It's episode number what?
Nine.
Oh my God, 9 in season 2. And do you know how many episodes it is total? 47.
You can keep track of that. I'll keep track of this season. You
I
can
just
keep track
happened
of that number.
to look at it today. So
47.
47.
Wowza, yowza. Well, we just celebrated our anniversary.
Right, and last week was our anniversary.
Yeah.
So feel free to send presents and stuff.
Yeah,
that would be
man.
fine.
Yeah.
We'd be fine with that.
Oh my God, looking back on all those episodes, oh my God, we had a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, but we've kind of come a long way.
Yeah, but we've talked about a lot of fabulous,
Oh my gosh.
fabulous places, fabulous people,
Yes.
fabulous us.
Yes, and we've met so many great people. Oh my gosh, today
Oh my
we're
God,
very
that's
excited.
the best, just meeting fabulous people.
Yeah.
But just sharing that with everyone has been a blast.
Do we meet any
Been a
fabulous
blast.
people this week?
Did we?
I don't think so.
No, we didn't.
What did we do?
Well, what did we do this past weekend?
I don't know.
You went to karaoke Friday night.
Oh
Where
yeah,
did
Friday
you go?
night we went to Father Flanagan's. Okay, so Ernie, is karaoke master of the world.
He is.
So he goes to Father Flanagan's on Friday night. So we went there, and I have to tell you, it was so crowded that we got the last 2 seats at the bar when we got there, and then there was some guy had a surprise birthday party, and it was so crowded
It's
in
a
there.
small place, isn't it?
It's very small,
Yeah,
and I said to
yeah.
Ernie,
It's been there a long
I'm going to be
time.
one and done because I can't. I don't
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
it's, yeah. I mean, it's a lot. I know.
It was literally like claustrophobic, but everybody
know.
we had a great time. And then
course.
we tried to go to Finish Line because they have it.
Yes.
Now the Finish Line is on Wanto Avenue, and
Yes.
that's 2 ends, So it's not really finish like over. It's finish like Finland. Ernie did not even know that, so I was laughing at him about that. But anyway, so we went there, and there was people standing outside, and I'm like, oh, well, they're just smoking, right? So I went to go in there, and it was so packed I could not even get in the
Yeah,
door.
no,
So I'm like,
I can't.
Ernie, I apologize. You got your one song.
You
got
got a
to
song
go.
in. Okay.
And then we went to karaoke Monday.
Right.
Oh no, and then Valentina's birthday party she was 4 on Saturday, so that was so fun. Valentina is my son-in-law's. Well, Valentina's just my granddaughter, and the other twins are my granddaughters too. So we'll just put it like that.
Okay, well, I went to a bridal shower.
Oh yes,
Which the bride
a really
looked-
good bridal shower.
Oh my God, that food there.
Where was that?
Mio Posto.
Oh, Mio Posto.
In Merrick. That Italian
Yes.
food is amazing.
Oh,
The
I know,
Caesar
they're
salad was
good.
delicious. You would
Yeah.
have loved the Caesar salad, but the food was amazing. She looked gorgeous because she is gorgeous. So it was really fun. And then we did a DJ job.
That's right.
Oh my God, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I mean, it was at the Knights of Columbus in Hicksville. They were so much fun. The girl at the end of the night comes up to Mark and he goes, I don't know where they found you, but you guys are amazing. We said, we're in the bar.
so
And then
funny.
she realized who we were because we've met her before.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Right? But then we
Yeah.
went to the bar afterwards and we forgot you were changing the clocks.
Oh.
So I was a dirty stay out.
Oh, you were a dirty stay out.
Dirty stay out.
yeah.
We were
I was
out
home
till
early, yeah.
It was 1:30. So when we got home, it was 2:30. By the time I went to bed, it was almost 4 a.m. I'm like, what is
Yeah, I know,
going
that's-
on
that's
here?
just too late.
Right?
That's
well,
too
we've
late.
been dirty stay outs before.
I know we have, but then Bobby stopped our dirty stay outing.
Well, yeah, I know. But we
he
used to get
thwarted
home.
our stay outing.
We'll get back to it. This summer, we'll end up doing that
Oh
again.
yeah, we'll talk about it.
All right. So what's going
and
on?
Then, Monday we went to karaoke, which is very fun.
Yes.
Yeah, so don't forget, people, next Monday,
yes.
the 17th, is karaoke at Domenico's St. Patrick's Day party.
Yes.
And guess who's going to be there? Poppy Lane.
Poppy Lane.
And all of our
Woo.
bags and stuff like that
we're
are going to
have
be
a
there. We got
fabulous
new jewelry.
pop-up show.
It's going to be fabulous. And if you're going, make a reservation.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Gotta make a reservation.
already there's 100 people signed up.
We got all new stuff. We got stuff
Yes.
for men. We got
Yes, we got
it's
all the
gonna be-
men. We listened.
it's
We
gonna-
listened.
We listen. See, we listen. We listen.
So let's look at the holidays today.
What do we got?
They're like 1 out of 10. They're like 7.
Nothing great today.
Coconut Tort Day.
Well, I love coconut.
Oh, but yesterday we went to Babylon.
Oh,
with
my
Joan.
God, that
we had a
coconut-
girls' day in Babylon yesterday.
coconut martini was to die for.
You had a great yes.
That was to die for.
Yeah,
That
and
was
we found
delicious.
Waldo. Yes, we went to this place over in Babylon called Tres Palms. We went with Queen Joan. We went to this pizza place, and we went to Tres Palms so we could. We were going to sit out on the water because it was beautiful
It was
yesterday.
beautiful
And there was this
yesterday.
guy that literally, I'm going to put the picture up
Yeah,
on
you
Facebook
should.
because
You
it's so
should.
funny.
He was pretty
Ty
funny.
Masterson, we saw you. We didn't tell you we had a TV show, but we're talking about you, Ty Masterson. And then his brother is the sports medicine guy
Yes,
for the
the
Long Island
Islanders.
Yeah,
The
for the
Islanders.
Islanders. So don't think we weren't listening because we were
We
listening.
were listening, yes.
Ty Masterson. That used to live in Antarctica or Arctica or somewhere.
Where did he live? I don't
And
even
shoot
remember. He
polar
was just
bears or something. Anyway,
he was chit-chatting.
Donald Duck Day is today.
Donald Duck Day. Okay.
Now, why is today Earmuff Day?
I don't know, because there's a day for everything.
I know, but
don't
earmuffs,
know.
it's too late in the year for Earmuff Day.
Whoever does these doesn't care.
Good Samaritan Involvement Day.
Good Samaritan involvement. Okay. Be a good Samaritan
Well,
today.
that's a nervous. You can be nervous about being a good Samaritan these days because you might go to jail. Canine Veterans Day.
Canine Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dogs.
Yeah, okay, good.
Ken Day.
Who?
Ken.
Ken, like is in
People
Barbie
named
and Ken?
Yeah,
Oh.
so happy Ken Day. People named Ken.
Okay.
L. Ron Hubbard Day.
Who's that?
The guy that invented Scientology.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to clap for that.
No.
National
Me
Jewel
neither.
Day.
I'm right there with you.
National Jewel Day. I wore this bracelet. I wore this watch. So
Yeah,
it would
that's
be
quite
National
the
Ver-
watch.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
National Open an Umbrella Indoors Day.
Now, why would you do that?
I don't know.
I
Don't know the
Why would
answer.
we celebrate that? I don't.
Popcorn Lovers Day is today. Here we go with the food
Well,
again.
there had to be food in there somewhere. You know.
Smart and Sexy Day. Well,
Oh.
that's perfect because
Oh, yeah.
us two, and and our guest are both smart
We're
and
all
sexy.
smart and sexy.
We
That's
sure are.
right. We're fabulous.
And it's World Kidney Day.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yay,
All right,
kidneys. Woohoo, kidneys! All right, so let's do fun facts because I can't wait to get to our guest.
I know. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Love it. I love it.
You know.
No, you don't know nothing but fun facts. Don't even say
You know
it.
what Ernie said to me the other day? He goes, you know. He goes, you know.
He said, you know.
He goes, you can never change that, and you can never ever edit that fun facts intro. I'm like, of course not.
No, you can't. You just keep saying, you know.
Right, but I can never change that.
You can't.
So
So
today,
give us a
guess
fun
what we're going
fact.
to talk about today? Because we have a really special guest today. We're very excited about.
I know.
And so I decided to do fun facts on the human brain because
Oh,
I'm
I love
fascinated
it.
with that.
Me too.
Yes. So the average adult human brain weighs 3.3 pounds.
The average adult brain only weighs 3.3
Yeah,
pounds?
3.3 pounds.
All right.
Versus a shark's brain, which typically weighs about 1.2 ounces.
You threw the shark
Or
in there.
well,
Why do we care about a shark's brain?
you might not, but I do.
Oh,
It's like the size of a
Lord.
walnut.
Oh, poor shark. My heart goes out to them.
So this is what I thought was interesting. Multitasking is impossible. I bet Kelly is gonna agree with this.
Impossible?
When we think we're multitasking, we're actually context switching. That means we're quickly switching back and forth between different tasks rather than doing them at the same time. And that's very true. The book Brain Rules explains how detrimental multitasking can be. Research shows your error rate goes up 50% and takes you twice as long to do things if you were actually doing two things at the same time. So you should not do that, is what I'm taking from that.
You like that because you don't like to multitask.
Oh, I have 10,000 multitasking things going on at all times in my brain.
Doesn't mean you like it. No,
Yeah,
it's
it's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
The human brain triples in size the first year of life. A 2-year-old baby will have an 80% fully grown brain. It will continue to grow till you're about 18. It isn't until about 25 the human brain reaches full maturity.
We were told at one time that your brain is like, if you put your two like this, is this size. Like if you put your two together, it would be like that size. I don't know if there's truth to that.
No, but there's some guys that have really big hands. They don't have that big of heads.
Maybe they got big brains. You don't know that.
Big brains does not equal smartness. I'm just going to say that right now.
I know that. But how fascinating is that the brain doesn't feel pain? Like when you have this.
Were you reading this list?
Oh, it's on there? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. I took it off. That's why I was laughing about it.
Oh, okay.
The human brain contains approximately 100 billion neurons, the same number of stars as the Milky Way galaxy.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
I know, it's kind of fascinating.
That's crazy.
Experts call this a neuron forest. Information runs between these neurons in your brain for everything we see, think, or do.
Wow.
The fastest speed for information to pass between neurons is 250 miles an hour.
Oofa.
Wow.
That's fast.
That's fast.
That's fast neurons.
It's a myth that humans only use 10% of our brain. We actually use all of it. We're even using more than 10% when we sleep. Although it's true that at any given moment, all the brain's regions are not concurrently firing, brain researchers using imaging technology have shown that most are continually active over a 24-hour period. I thought that was interesting because a lot of times you hear, "Oh, we don't use all of our brain. If we used all of our brain, we would implode." But that's not true.
That's crazy.
So I like that.
I like that we use all of our brain.
Yeah. Dreams are believed to be a combination of imagination, physiological factors, and neurological factors. The limbic system in the midbrain deals with emotions in both waking and dreaming and includes the amygdala, that's right, I always forget how to say that word, which is mostly associated with fear and especially active during dreams. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Dreams are proof that your brain is working even when you're sleeping. The average human has about 4 to 7 dreams per night.
Oh yeah, the brain doesn't shut off.
Yeah. I dream in movies. Like I literally have, my dreams are full color. You know, what do they call it?
You see color?
Full color sagas are my dreams. They are
see
ridiculous.
Color in dreams. I didn't think.
And
I do.
That. So a lot of times I'll get up and I will, like do a voice note, and I started to like talk about because I remember all my dreams, and I just think that they
you don't forget them.
No, I don't forget them.
Well, if we write them down, yeah, but I find I forget them.
No, I don't. And some of them, and they're so real. Some of them are
sometimes
just,
like I'm on an LSD trip. They don't make any sense. I'm all over the place. Do you ever have ones where you're flying?
Oh yeah.
Or you're running and you're like almost flying while you're running. You're running so fast.
Yeah, but you can't fall.
No.
No, you can't fall down.
No.
Yeah.
I love dreams. They fascinate me.
This one I thought was very appropriate for me. Your brain is a random thought generator.
What do I say to that? A random.
The average
you have a lot of those.
Oh, you have no idea. You really have no idea. The average person has 12 to 60,000 thoughts per day.
Oh my gosh.
Now that's an average person. Now with me, it's got to be hundreds of thousands of thoughts. Like it's ridiculous, and none of them, and they're all like non sequiturs.
Well, that's why you
none of them run together.
That's why you exhaust yourself.
Of those, here's what I thought was interesting. Of those, 95% are exactly the same repetitive thoughts as the day before, and about 80% are negative.
Ooh, that's a large percentage.
Isn't that crazy?
80%?
Yeah, that's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So fascinating to me.
Wow.
Okay, we're over with that. Can't wait for our guest.
Oh, yes.
Let's go to a commercial
and she's coming on. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Imagine stumbling upon a treasure trove that transforms your design vision into reality. A2 Interior is just that. A collection brimming with luxurious mirrors, elegant artwork, and stylish furniture. Each piece curated to inspire and sophisticate your spaces. Dive in, explore the endless possibilities, and see for yourself how each element enhances your projects. Experience the joy today.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I have 30 seconds to give you a very important message. My name is Arthur Lee. I'm the CEO and inventor of LifeVac, a simple choking rescue device that could save a life in a choking emergency. We've saved over 3,000 lives now, but we're not there. 5,000 people a year choke to death, 1 child every 5 days. Please consider protecting your family in a choking emergency with LifeVac. Go to lifevac.net today. Thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Michael Astor, a New York personal injury lawyer at Astor Law. I've spent the past 30 years fighting for New Yorkers who have been injured or lost a loved one due to the fault of others. At Astor Law, we help accident victims. We have a track record of success with some of the largest settlements and jury verdicts in America. At my firm, we provide New Yorkers with a free consultation. And if you hire us, you don't pay us until we win money for you. If you or someone you know has been injured in an accident, give us a call. At Ask the Law, quality service doesn't cost, it pays.
We're back. Oh my gosh, we're so excited today because we want to introduce you to Kelly Tallaksen. She is a board certified hypnotist and tell us everything, but she does way more than just that. Let me just tell you.
Oh, yeah.
We met Kelly at May's Women's Summit, the one that we talk about incessantly. And she was the first speaker and just knocked our socks off. And we said, you have to be on the show. And then we find out that, number one, she lives in Levittown, where we live. And number two, she was at karaoke 2 weeks ago, and I'm like...
She's a good dancer.
Yeah. And Sue comes up to me, and she's like, Monica, I want to introduce you to my friend. And I walked up, and I'm like... She's like, I know you. I'm like, well, I know you too. Why are we being introduced again? It was so funny. And we've been wanting to have her on the show, so it worked out perfectly.
So it definitely worked out perfectly.
Well, welcome to the show,
Thank
Kelly.
you so
Thank you
much,
for coming
Linda.
on.
Oh my gosh,
Thank
we're
you.
so excited. We literally show them your book
Oh
of
my
notes.
God.
When we were at May's thing,
we went to
literally
the
have
summit and
pages of notes.
we were writing notes. You can't really see it, but all the speakers were going up there, and everything they were saying, we were like, oh, write this down, write this down, write this down. And I've been looking at it ever since because, you know, when people get to you, and it's like, I gotta have this. I gotta have this. So, I mean, this is like my little journal
I love
of
it.
all the things you guys said, but you really got to us. You
Yes.
really got to us. And it's your energy, too.
Energy's everything.
Your energy, your
Every-
positivity, your
Yes.
smile. She has this aura,
I know.
right?
I know. And then she had on that brown dress at May's thing.
I
Don't think
know.
I don't forget. And the
Oh, yeah.
jewelry.
She
Like,
always
I knew
remembers the
everything.
fashion.
I'm like, oh my God, look what she's got on. I even told you that when you came up to the Poppy Lane table.
Yeah.
So tell us where
Right.
did you start this journey?
Okay, so I was a paralegal for 25 years.
Oh,
my
were
gosh.
you really?
And I did love it. I love the whole corporate thing. But then I started meditating. And I started getting really into the soul part of who I was. And what happens when you start getting into who you really are, you start getting drawn to your true life purpose, and you don't even realize it. So I do trust that certain things had to happen in my life to take me to this point where I am today. And I trust that, even if they were negative or whatever you want to, they were really positive, because they really were lessons for me to learn, right? So I was always getting sick. Always had sinus infections, always had headaches. I could never get well. So I kept going to the medical doctors who weren't helping. So then somebody said, try an alternative doctor. And that's where things started to change. But what really was interesting is I was changing my diet. I started exercising. I started drinking more water. I started really caring about my physical body. But at that time in my life, I did not realize the deep and powerful connection between the mind and the body. So I was following Dr. Mercola, who writes all kinds of articles on his website, and I was following all his nutritional stuff. And I was ordering supplements. I was really helping myself out, but I wasn't really getting 100%. I wasn't feeling great. So one day he had this article that said if you're still getting sinus infections or you're still not feeling well, you're tired, lethargical all the time, you're not doing the following. And I'm thinking, what am I not doing? I changed my whole life.
Right.
So I'm reading the list, and when it got to the last thing, and I'm like checking it off, and it got to the last thing, and it said, you're harboring any childhood trauma. And that's when I went, wait, what? And I read it again. And I said, what is he talking about? So I started doing all this research. So I probably read every inner child healing book on the market, every one of them. And I'm like turning the pages. I'm fascinated now. But what everything led to was the subconscious. How growing up, we're basically in hypnosis like the first 7 to 8 years of our life.
Right.
Because our brain is not fully developed. We are in what's called an alpha state of consciousness. So where we are right now, we're in a beta state. We're highly alert. We know what's going on in our environment, right? So, but when we're growing up, we're more in an alpha state, which means a little bit more in a lower brainwave state, which makes us more suggestible. Then, when we're really small, we're in what's called a theta state, which makes it, it's almost like hypnosis. and we're really highly suggestible. So whatever happening in our environment, we interpret it, okay, how it makes us feel.
Oh, wait, when are we in the theta state?
Probably from the ages birth to about 5 or 6, and then we start to develop more in the alpha state,
Right.
and then we go into the beta state where we're more aware of our environment.
Right, okay.
But when we're in that very suggestive state, if your mother, father, whatever says you should be ashamed of yourself, and they say it a lot, right? Wasn't that
Oh,
the
my
thing
gosh.
when we were young?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yes.
You're a bad child. You literally believe it. Okay? Because you have nothing to compare it to. You're big, I'm little, you're here, I'm new to this. You must know who I am because I don't. Tell me who I am.
Right.
Well, they do.
They
right?
sure do.
But really all they're doing is repeating what was said to them. And that's why I'm so fascinated with helping people heal that generational trauma, because what's happening is it's not only in you, it happened to your mother, your father, to your grandparents, your great-grandparents. But what happens is you become an adult and now you hold resentment. My mother did this, my father didn't do this. He was an alcoholic, she was depressed. She didn't take me shopping, I never had a birthday party, poor me, poor me. But what happens is what we don't realize is that they went through the same thing. And the way you're behaving is they're behaving, and you're doing the same thing to your child. And it's been said, and actually Dr. Carl Jung said it, whatever you don't heal within yourself is going to show up in your children. And after going through all of that, I decided I got to get into the subconscious mind. I got to help people.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So
Wow.
I became a hypnotist, and I wrote 3 books, and I really started working with inner child trauma, and there you go, and here I am.
Wow.
That is amazing.
I just want people to know there's still that beautiful, fabulous inside waiting to
Right.
be expressed.
Right. And really, it's up to people to break that cycle.
You need to
That-
break the
that-
cycle, but it's
cycle,
not
yeah,
easy.
it's
People
not
think
easy.
it's easy. And you know, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people put that stuff out there, just do this, meditate, do
Right,
this, and everything
right.
goes away. It doesn't just go
doesn't work
away.
that way.
Because what happens is child, in that alpha state of consciousness and being a young child, you are also in survival mode. The whole time. Your
Yep.
primary brain is the
Yep.
first, brain facts, the primary brain is the first part to be developed. So when you're young, before your emotional and your cognitive brain are even developed, you're strictly in survival mode, which means I need to be fed, I need to be held, I need to be loved, I need to be cared for. And when I'm not, I may actually believe I don't belong here, or I'm going to die, or nobody could ever love me. And what it really comes down to is that part of us gets so embedded and ingrained and imprinted inside of us that we grow up holding on to those survival energies.
Right.
And
Right.
it limits us from showing up in that fabulous self that we are.
Right.
Yeah, and then.
Well, and then we don't really even know that we are fabulous.
We don't know it, and even if we thought we did, we'd be afraid to express it that people would reject it.
Right.
So
But then
that's
it starts to affect your relationships, right?
everything's going to show up in your
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
The relationships that you have with your parents are going to
Right.
show up in the relationships you have with other partners,
Right.
right?
And that's-
Even your friends, even,
Yeah.
but most importantly, your romantic relationships, because that closeness that you needed with mom
Mm-hmm.
and dad, if it wasn't there, you may have a problem having closeness with somebody.
So
and
you
you're-
overcompensate a lot
Yeah.
of times too.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I've been married thrice.
There you go. There you go.
I have a good one now, though. Well, the other two were good too. But
Yeah.
this one.
They're all part of the lessons and journey, though, of growth,
But
man.
it's so true. We just said that the other day, and I said, you know, Linda doesn't even like we've known each other for a long time, but even like all the things I've been through in my life, nobody could ever possibly know every single thing. Like I just keep coming up with things, and she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you have no idea." But it's so true. I don't have regrets on anything because if I would not literally be sitting in this chair talking to you. No, I wouldn't have my daughter. I wouldn't have the kids. I wouldn't have any of the life
Yeah.
that I have now. If I wouldn't have, if even one little of those things would be changed.
Right.
Well, regrets
don't-
would only hold
Right.
you back.
Exactly. I don't
Right.
believe in
Sure.
living with regrets.
Right.
What's done cannot be
Right.
undone.
Can't be undone.
Right.
But we can learn from
We
it.
can
That's
learn
what
we
from
can
it.
learn from it.
There
are
and
life
tell
lessons
others
all the
about. And you
time,
don't
yeah.
you see it? You see it in other people too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 And I try to explain to people, you know, and I see when people actually stop being resentful. You know, we talk a lot about forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is everything.
Yes.
It's the truth.
It is.
Forgiveness is everything. The problem is we forgive on a superficial level.
Mm-hmm.
We don't forgive on a deep level. Forgiving on a deep level requires some really deep compassion. And when I say that, what I mean by that is all right, so say somebody comes to me as a client. Of course, I do this whole intake with them. And my questions are, mom and dad still alive? Yes, no, whatever. Well, what was your relationship like with mom? Oh, I forgave her. She was a horrible mom, but I forgave her. I'm a mom now. I get it. I'm like, okay, big red flag, red flag. Okay, because I know you didn't forgive her. Maybe you did as an adult, because the adult now has the cognitive, intellectual mind, right?
Right.
But the child didn't.
Right.
Okay, so the child didn't forgive. You got different parts of you going on at the same time, right? So you got the part of you that's an adult that says, I get it. I have a child, and man, that child's a brat, and I just want to smack that child. So I forgive my mom. I get it. And you do. You're not lying. You do. But that's another level of consciousness. Now, consciousness doesn't go away. You can only transmute, right? Change it. Right? Doesn't go away. So you still have childhood consciousness living inside of you, okay, in your subconscious mind that says, my mom hates me. My mom never loved me. Okay, so there's resentment there. That resentment is still there. So you can forgive on that superficial level, but what about the child part? That child part didn't forgive. That's why I do what I do. I get you back into the child, and I say, how do you feel? How do you feel when mom did that? It makes me feel unworthy of her love, and the tears start coming out because that's still there. That's going to limit you.
Right.
My dad taught me a long time ago, and it's weird that my dad taught me this because he was not like in any way, shape, or form in touch with his feelings.
Yeah.
He said to me one time, and I was young, he said, listen, if you forgive someone, you have to forget. Because if you don't forget, you don't really forgive. And I feel like that's kind of what you're saying. I think you kind of agree with that, because I've always felt like that. You ever hear people go, oh, I forgave them, but I'm never going to forget. Well, then you didn't really forgive them. That's kind of the way I feel
you gotta
about
let
it. Like,
it go. You have to settle it.
But you have to forget it. You have to truly.
Well, is that what you?
And I think that's what you're saying. Is you go back and say, forgive them, and then now let's just.
Well, it means let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. I mean, we're always going to remember because it's a memory, but you
Right.
got to see it differently. And by seeing it differently, in other words, forget how you saw it.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Forget that you saw it so negatively that you're still holding that energy, because that energy now, you're carrying it, so you're spitting out negative stuff and you don't even realize it, and you're hurting others. This is generational trauma, right? So the idea is we don't ever forget anything. We just got to change the way we saw it. It's a perception.
Yes.
Because everything's perception. So if I saw my mother is not loving me, then I'm not going to feel loved. Right? So if I transmute that, I change it to, yes, she loved me the best way she knew how. Knowing now with compassion that she never experienced love. So the love she showed me was all she had. The rest was buried, because it was so suppressed from her fear and her pain of growing up.
So it's almost like an understanding. You come to an understanding as to where it came from, that kind of behavior came from. You settle it, you look at it differently. That's what you're trying to get people to do.
100%.
Not erase it, because like you said, it's a memory, but settle it.
Settle it already in your mind, in your conscious, is that it's not the way you perceived it at the beginning. But forgive yourself for believing you were unworthy. Okay? And then forgive mom, say, for not loving herself and being trapped in her own trauma, and for showing up to you in that trauma instead of the love you needed. Forgive her for that. She's human.
There's a lot of work there,
There is a lot of work there. So that's why when people say, oh, just do this and you'll be fine, just meditate, you'll be fine. Or I love when they say, just meditate and let the thoughts pass through. And I'm like, wall, there's a wall. It's not going anywhere. It's not passing through that big, thick wall you put up. So you really do need that guide to bring you to that place that you don't even know what's happening inside of you, and that's my job. That's what I do.
So the people that come to you don't even know that until you make them aware of it,
Until I make them aware, and they'll say to me, I can't believe that came up. I thought I solved that. I said, you did intellectually, but you can't intellectually solve an emotional issue. The intellect is in the brain. The emotions are in the body. You're still being flooded with the pain and fear that you had as a child, right? So we don't have intellect as a child. All we have is our survival.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the emotions trapped in that survival energy.
Right.
Who's going to take care of me? Who's going to love me? Where will I be? So that's why we try to show up as children the best we can. That's where people pleasing comes from. If I do this for you, Mom, will you love me then? You know what I mean?
Oh, I can
if
see
I
that,
do this
yeah.
for Daddy,
Yeah.
will he love me then? If I keep my mouth quiet and don't get Daddy upset, maybe he'll love me instead of yelling at me for this is what goes through it. This is all survival. I need you to
Right.
love me so that you continue to take care of me.
Right.
Because if you don't love me, who's going to take
gonna
care
take
of
care
me?
of me?
And that's why it shows up in relationships, and I call it survival love. We end up in this intimate romantic relationships not based on real true love. It's more survival love. And that's why you find people in relationships where you say, I can't believe she's still with him. We'll try to understand that she's still with him because there's a part of her that has this need. He's supplying her with something. But is it real love? Not really. It's survival love. Real love can only come from you loving yourself.
That's right, self-love.
Unconditionally,
Right.
self-love.
Self-love,
And then
yes.
getting into that romantic partnership with somebody who's also in that place of self-love, and then you grow together. And I'm not talking about we got to be perfectly healed, because it's
Right,
never going to
right,
happen.
no.
Don't
Right.
even try.
No. Right.
All right? But healed enough to be self-aware, right? Self-respectful, that you can be respectful to others, right? To not hurt them, not lie to them, not cheat on them, be honest, have integrity, and show up in that high-level spiritual self, and just be kind and compassionate and know that what you do to others, okay? Be aware of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Most
Right.
people aren't aware. And like I said in my
Right.
talk at Maze, you know how you say 10%, when you use 10% of our brain? Well, they're really talking about the 10% of the consciousness. The rest is subconscious. The subconscious runs 24 hours a day. So yes, we're always using
Yeah,
our entire
always
brain.
using it.
Right.
Always
Yeah.
using the entire brain.
Right.
But the thing is, 90% of the time we're not aware,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
right?
Let's go to a quick commercial. We'll be right back. Sorry.
Ever felt stuck with a home that just doesn't feel right anymore? Whether it's that outdated kitchen or the bathroom that needs a refreshed look, Twice as Nice Construction has got you covered. Family owned for over 20 years. Twice as Nice Construction has been providing beautiful new construction and additions and stunning remodels like kitchens and bathrooms. We're not just experts, we offer unbeatable quality and prices to help make your dream come true. Ready to start building your dream home or to give your kitchen and bathroom that much needed makeover? Contact Twice as Nice today and make your dream a reality. Visit twiceasniceremodel.com today for quality you can see and service you can trust. Twice the value, twice the commitment, Twice as Nice.
Me llaman Dan Pablo y hace más de 20 años me enamoré de una colombiana. Viajé a su país y conocí un estilo de café muy distinto, muy especial. Ahora tostamos cafés excelentes, con alturas y microclimas diferentes, resultado en una taza muy compleja y muy rica, un sabor nuevo en el mundo. Fue un éxito. And I even got to keep the girl.
Insane.
We're back.
We're back.
Oh wait, we have to tell that story because that's a fascinating story. She was telling us that we have so much great stuff happens in the commercials, Bobby. We got to start taping the commercials now, or the stuff we talk about during the commercial, because we get some good stuff. During
Tell everybody who's here again.
Yes. So we have Kelly Tallaksen, who is a board-certified hypnotherapist, but she does all kinds of other things too. And you do Reiki?
Yes, I
Okay,
do
I'm gonna
Reiki.
need to
I
Yes,
love
I'm gonna-
Reiki.
I'm gonna need to be over there.
Yeah, me too. The 2 of us.
I'm a huge Reiki fan.
So am I. We went in Mexico and we fell in love with it.
Yeah,
So,
Reiki's powerful. So is IET, which is integrative energy therapy. That takes you even deeper. So when I do Reiki, I kind of go around the body doing Reiki. Then I do it's IET, okay? Integrative energy therapy. And that goes a little bit deeper than Reiki. There's so many different types of Reiki. Now they have fire Reiki, I heard.
Yeah.
But I don't do it as much as I used to because I got really busy with the public speaking and the writing and seeing the clients. But I do love it. I think it's powerful. And I remember when I first started doing it, you don't realize how intuitive we all are.
Oh,
And when you do
I
Reiki or receive
know.
Reiki, like all kinds of things come to you from spirit. And I remember I thought I was going to pass out one time because I was working on one of my daughter's friends. She was like 12 years old. And this poor little girl, she was so tiny and skinny, but her little body was basically jumping off the table, right? But what I was doing is I was calling in spirit, but all I kept seeing was these visuals of this black smoke coming out of her body, like
my
black.
goodness.
It was horrible. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, and I was like going like this, and I was like in my consciousness, in my spirit, I'm like, okay, let's bring in some purple light, right? I don't know where that came from, but I'm bringing in the purple light.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, at the end, right, she's still laying on the table, and I said to her, how do you feel? She goes, I feel so good. I feel so much lighter. She goes, I saw this black smoke leaving my body, and then I felt.
I got chills over
Now
my
I'm
body.
holding on to the table. What? What are you talking about?
I got all over my whole body.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Stop! You
Wow.
know, yeah. And then these things started coming to me. Like I had this other girl, and I'm like, I just got Batman popping in my head. Don't know why. I thought it was so weird. She goes, oh, that's what they call my boyfriend. And I'm like,
Oh
okay.
my God! See,
So
God only
he's-
knows what she's gonna see with us. I don't know.
Like, I'm afraid she's seeing black smoke coming out of my head right now.
No, but when we went in Mexico, I was crying at the end
Oh,
because
yeah.
it was
It
such a
releases the
release.
emotions.
I
It's so
sat up. She's like, "How do you
powerful.
feel?" I'm like, "I'm so
She's crying.
emotional."
Like, I've had quite a few. Well, and this is the weirdest thing. My stepmom and my family is very, very religious. They're like it's kind of like Mennonite, kind of like that. So when they didn't believe in any of that kind of stuff. So my dad and stepmom had a house in Texas in Zapata. So I had plantar fasciitis for 2 years. Ooh. I mean, it was I had to wear Crocs every day. It was terrible. So my stepmom, she's like, I'm going to take you over to this lady. She goes, I've been taking your dad over here. And she goes, I'm going to take you over to this lady. And she's kind of a massage therapist. I'm like, all right. Because like, I'm all into it. And I'm like, I wouldn't think that they would know anything about Reiki. So we go over to this lady and she's like, oh, you don't have to take your clothes off. And she goes over my body and she felt every single thing. Like she knew I had back surgery. She knew my knee. She knew everything.
Because of the energy.
She knew about and then she's like, oh, the plantar fasciitis. And she did that. And I'm telling you, I was in there. I walked out of there and I never had plantar fasciitis again. And I couldn't believe it.
But that's where you were holding the energy.
I was holding the energy in there.
Powerful.
So crazy. And I'm like, since when do you believe in this? And they're like, oh yeah, it's wonderful. I'm like, oh my God, she was amazing. So that was my introduction to Reiki, and I'm a huge
Well, when we
believer
went to
in that.
Mexico, I was wearing the bionic shoes because I had
Yes.
that in my heel.
Yes.
The heel-
Wow. And it cleared
I
it,
haven't
right?
had it since.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. We don't realize where we hold energy in our body.
Yeah.
So even when I have my clients in hypnosis, so if they say to me, I feel a deep sense of unworthiness, I will ask them, where do you hold it in your body? And a lot of them say my heart, my chest, or my back, whatever. But when they say the chest, I'll tell them to focus on the chest area, to call on their spirit guides to help them release the energy. I say you no longer need it after we do the healing process, because now you understand that feeling of unworthiness came from the child in you who didn't know that she was worthy. And now that she knows, you don't need this energy there to remind you. So can you release it? Or I'll say it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to mom. You pulled it in from mom. Can we let it go now? And then I'll say to them, do you feel it releasing? They'll say yes. But while they're doing that, I'm doing the Reiki over the chest because their eyes are closed and I'm doing all the Reiki, right? Yeah. But they'll say, yes, I feel it being released. And at the end of the session, they always say, I feel lighter. Because when you release that heavy energy, did you feel lighter? You just feel so light because that energy is weighing you down. It makes you depressed. You can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
You veg on the couch a lot. It's that weighed down energy. Our thoughts are doing this to us.
I'm gonna need
It's
an
our
appointment.
thoughts.
I'm gonna be there. I'll be over there tomorrow.
I know,
think
but
I
all
need
we
some
would do
of
is
that.
complain about
Like,
it.
over
It's
there,
okay.
like,
Like, it's here. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, but now that you realize all of this, right? That it's your own thought forms, it's your own emotions.
Yeah.
Emotions are energy. Actually, I wrote an article for Wake Up World about how these emotions get trapped in the body, and I actually made my own little figure to put in there as a picture showing this black spots all over, because that's energy right there. So anytime our body keeps contracting, we're pulling the energy in, right? Negative energy, we're holding it there.
Yeah.
And we're constantly contracting. And Reiki helps you break it up so it can be dispersed.
Did you do
and
Reiki
released.
on yourself?
Sure, everybody does. My friend does it on her face every day
Oh
to
my
keep
goodness.
herself young looking.
Wow.
Because the stress. Think about the stress. When you're stressed, what is your face
Yeah.
doing? What,
Yep.
You're getting angry.
Yep.
The anger, your jaw, right? Your jaw area,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
That stress shows
Yeah.
up in your
Yeah.
face,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So she does Reiki to calm her face so the stress doesn't show up in her face. She actually looks a whole lot younger than she is.
Do you think that anybody can go and do Reiki? Can anybody go and get training in Reiki?
I think so, as long as you're not psychotic, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that might be a problem.
I wasn't going to go there. I was tempted, but I let you
Well,
say it.
that blows that
Yeah,
whole.
there you go.
That
No.
blows that career path.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I always wondered about that because you see so many people are like, oh, I'm gonna be Reiki. I'm gonna go to be a Reiki master. I'm thinking, you? Like, what? And I always wondered about that. If that was really like if anybody could just really do that, because I know I can do that. Like, it's really funny when I go home to Ohio. My family lines up, like I'll sit on the couch and they line up in front of me to get their backs rubbed and get massages. And they're like, there's something about your hands. Your hands can be very hot. And I'm like, right, because I put that into and I know how to do, like I taught
That's
myself-
what you're pulling in Reiki then.
Yes.
That's
And
exactly
they
what
can
you're doing.
Feel it. They can
Yes.
feel it, and it's very interesting. It's just very interesting, and you can feel that. Like it's when I started like playing around with that kind of in my brain because I know that I have that, and you can feel it.
Just by saying certain spiritual things to yourself can activate your own energetic
Yeah,
field.
I believe that.
And once you activate your energetic field and you're coming from such a high place of love and you're going on to somebody else who's negative energy, you're actually bringing in love energy.
What do you
You're
say to yourself?
A high vibration.
What are some things you say to yourself?
I do have to constantly say to myself, you can do this, Kelly. You can do this,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because I did
Yeah.
grow up in a very, just like most of us, very challenged childhood.
Yes.
And, and there are parts of me that question if I can do this, because when you're raised by a mother and father that never really had a career and they're always complaining about money doesn't grow on trees, and you're like, yes, it does. Yes,
Yes.
it does.
Yeah.
It does. I saw it.
I saw it. It's growing on my tree, right? You got to constantly, shift to the negative to the positive because it is imprinted, it is ingrained,
It is.
It doesn't go away that easy. So, but the thing is, saying positive affirmations on a daily basis is really fabulous. But keep in mind that you're still doing it with a conscious level. And you might have unconscious thoughts counteracting that you're not aware of. So if you remember what I said in my speech and in my book,
Yes.
the first step to self-love is self-awareness.
Yes.
We have to be aware where we're not loving ourselves in order for us to get to a place of loving ourselves.
Right.
Because 90% of the time we're not aware that we're beating
Right.
ourselves up inside.
Right.
Right?
Right. 100%. 100%. And then you said something too at the thing. You had the prayer that you said about the
Ho'oponopono.
prayer.
Yes.
You know what's funny? I think I told you about that when we were Domenicos. I said after it was like the 4 days after I saw you, every single day on Facebook and all the social
You
media,
saw it?
It
came
popped up on
there
my feed,
every
too.
single
It was weird.
time.
It popped
I'm like,
up, yeah.
I've never heard about that in my entire life.
Neither have I.
And then you said it, and then it's everywhere now.
Yeah.
I'm like, isn't that the most crazy thing?
Yeah.
Now, is that energy bringing in, or is it just AI?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
Could
I
be
don't
Mark
know.
Zuckerberg. We're not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
know.
but you know what? It's a good thing. It's a good thing if it's
Yeah.
showing up. Take it as a message that it's so powerful. And so really what was happening there is Dr. Hewlin went into this psychiatric ward and he was, hired to, work with the patients, but he never saw one single patient. What he did is he prayed over their files. And what he was praying was saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And that's him talking to his inner child or his negative side. The side of him that's not showing up in self-love. Because if we show up in self-love, our frequency is high. That's the frequency we're spreading into the world. So take this on a collective basis now. We're a whole bunch of these types of people that are holding on to negative energy. We're going to create from our energy negative events. But if we say we all showed up in self-love, this world would be in a whole better place.
Absolutely.
But there's too many negative people out there.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, and that's what shadow work is. They say do your own shadow work before you worry about anybody else.
And
what they're
shadow
doing.
work is working on yourself.
Working on the depths of your soul, where you don't see yourself. that's showing up in a negative way and you're not aware of it because it's energy. So if my energy output is negative, I can actually contribute to a negative world. So Dr. Hewlin was saying, my output has been negative. I contributed to the mental illness of these people because they don't feel loved by the world. If they felt loved, they wouldn't be here. So where do I contribute? I'm not loving me, so my output is negative.
Right.
So when he's saying, I love you, please forgive me, he's talking to himself.
Right.
Forgive me for all the times I put out negative energy.
Right.
Forgive me for all the times I didn't show up in my true, authentic self. Forgive me for holding on for so long, all of this pain from my childhood and having this energy output that's contributing to the destruction of this world. So, I'm sorry for doing that. Please forget. And the I love you is I love you. I love you for who you really are. Forget about all this stuff that happened. It's just experiences. It's not who you are. I love you.
Right.
So when you do that, now his energy output is what? Love.
Right.
Pray that love over the files, and you're energetically sending love to these patients to help them feel that energy. Think of all the people that work in a psychiatric ward. They probably walk in angry and negative to even be in that field, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough.
So if everybody walked in with so much love and said, I love you, while this person's having a psychotic breakdown.
Right.
I love you. It's going to change their energy. Not overnight, but you got to be consistent, and that's what he did. He was consistent with it every day, until they felt the energy.
It's amazing.
And do you have to train yourself on how to receive love too?
You have to be aware where you're not loving yourself. You don't have to train yourself. We already love ourselves. That's why we're always protecting ourselves.
We just don't love ourselves enough, right?
We don't love ourselves in the right way. We're
Right.
loving ourselves through a survival energy.
Right.
Because we're in a physical body.
Yeah.
We need to love our soul that's having this physical experience. And some of them are not so pleasant, but love yourself anyway.
Right.
Right? And love your mom and dad who didn't show up the way you needed them to.
Yeah.
They couldn't.
Right.
They couldn't.
Because they were too much in their survival energy. Could you imagine what their parents went through and passed on to them, the wars, the famines,
Yep.
and back, 3 generations back or so, when you had a psychotic breakdown, they put you on a table and moved part of your brain,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they electrocuted your brain.
Yes. Exactly. Let me
Okay.
shock you.
So crazy.
And then we advanced a little bit and we went into psychology and they said,
Yeah.
here, take a pill. And they shut down your emotions.
Right.
Now you completely have no emotions, okay? You're just basically a robot. You're just kind of living
yeah.
life in survival 100%. Now we're really advancing to energy work and understanding the brain and understanding the unconscious, understanding the shadow parts, all right? Even though it was brought out years ago,
Yeah.
we never really let it flourish like it is now. So it really is a wonderful time to be alive and a wonderful time to get into that part of you where you weren't loving and do that deep inner shadow work. Show up in that self-love. I promise you're going to attract great things into your life.
I agree
Right.
with that
Right.
wholeheartedly.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Let's go to a quick commercial. We'll be right back.
Imagine turning an ordinary gathering into an electrifying night at a Las Vegas casino. With Ace Authentic Casino and Entertainment, we bring the thrill of blackjack, roulette, poker, and more right to your door. For over 20 years, we've been transforming parties in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut into unforgettable events. Ready to elevate your next event? Experience the joy today with Ace Casino Parties. Visit us at acecasino.ny.com.
Crafted with care, worn with pride. Discover the unique charm of handmade jewelry at Poppy Lane Gifts and Decor. Each piece at Poppy Lane is a testament to craftsmanship and style, designed to be as unique as you are. Whether it's a gift for a loved one or a treat for yourself, find something that speaks to your soul. Step into Poppy Lane today or visit us online and adorn your life with pieces as extraordinary as you. Poppy Lane Gifts and Decor, uniquely yours, uniquely you.
That's
We're back. This show goes so fast. It is it's the fastest show on television. That's what Ernie says. So we have to talk about. We want to tell you about Kelly's. Kelly has written two books.
Well, I have three.
No, you have three. Okay,
I
what's
have three.
the first one?
The first one's called Healing Our Unhealed Parts. It's only on Kindle, and it talks about the different parts of us. I'm actually trained in what's called parts healing and integration. So that's shadow work.
Okay.
Okay. The second book is called The Voiceless Soul, which
Okay,
is
we have the picture of that, of
that's
the front of that
going to
book.
be a short film.
Yeah, I want to read
Yes,
that.
there it is.
That's my
Okay.
next read.
Oh, now you said that's going to be a film.
That's going to be a film. It's
Yeah.
in the works. It's taken a lot longer than I thought, but it's animated. Okay, it starts out with some human talk about, but it actually takes place in the womb of mother. Okay, because that's where it all starts, in the womb of mother, where you're having a physical experience, where your soul is basically picking up, your soul, your energetic body is picking up on the frequencies around you. And we're talking about the frequency of mother and everybody that mother interacts with. You're picking up on their frequency right from the womb.
Wow.
And at birth, okay? So, and then it goes into early childhood. So that's the voiceless soul, because there's no voice.
Right.
But it's all energy.
Right.
But if
Right.
we're all energy, okay, what's going to be happening? We could actually spend a lot of our good part of our life in survival mode and not even realize why. It's because we picked up on mother's survival energy, or we had a traumatic birth. Okay, that can give us panic attacks for the rest of our life and not know it actually goes back to birth. And I do mention, I think, a case in my book about a girl that had severe anxiety. I say, where do you hold that in your body? She says, I feel the tension here and around here. She actually got stuck in the birth canal and turned blue and wasn't breathing because she was so crushed. And it was all of this part of her that was bent up, and it blocked off her breathing. Wow. So when she was born blue, what was happening was all the panic around her, trying to save her life, trying to get her to breathe, you know. So obviously she's okay now, but her subconscious mind was still experiencing that trap.
Yeah.
Which gave her claustrophobia, which gave her all kinds of issues.
It's phenomenal.
Right?
It's amazing.
It is phenomenal.
It really is amazing.
Now this year, you won an award.
I won a few awards last year and this year, yes.
But this book you
This
wrote.
book
This
won,
book.
the
Powerful.
International Impact Book Awards, and that's the third book, and that is called Breaking the Barriers to Self-Love.
I
Oh,
just
we have
read
the-
it. You got to read it, Monica. You got to read
I know.
it.
She read it last night.
I read it last
today.
night and I finished it this morning. It is. Read it because at the end, the questions that she asks you in the book really make you think.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting on the couch and I'm going through them like, oh my God. And that's when you made me realize something that I never realized.
Well, that's
it
the
went
self-awareness.
back to generations, my parents' parents. You know?
Isn't it interesting?
And I would have never have realized that.
Yeah.
So it's read it.
We have to ask her. It's a self-discovery process.
really-
We have to look at where it all came from.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is, and I call it unfinished business. When we have unfinished business in our mind, it's going to keep playing out until you complete it. And what I mean by complete it means take it to a place where you felt safe. Or someone you loved was safe, okay? Because it all comes down to survival at that young age. So you needed to come to a place of peace and safety. And if you didn't, then it's still very active in your mind. And it's going to keep playing out. And you're going to keep getting triggered until you take it to completion.
Right.
So in my work, I help people take it to completion so that it's no longer active in their mind and no longer a trigger spot.
Right.
We have triggers.
We all
Monica
have
and I talk
triggers.
about
Oh, I don't have
triggers
any
all the
triggers.
Yeah.
Oh God, we have triggers.
I literally have all the triggers.
We have triggers.
All the triggers.
But this book makes you realize
Yeah.
where those triggers.
Well, and I also had, and I'm going to go, listen, I'm going to go see Kelly because I have a thing, like, God has given me a lot of gifts in my life. I have a lot of things that I can do that other people can't do. However, in my life, I self-sabotage myself. I can have all these things, but then I will be like, well, let me just lay on the couch today. Like, I have problems with that. So I have to come and get over that because I think what you also have is there's a lot of women like us that are in business, especially like after COVID now, we're reinventing ourselves.
Yes.
Everybody's reinventing ourselves.
Yep.
So, we need to figure out why didn't we get to the pinnacle of where we could be? Why didn't we get there?
Well, there is a part in her
So-
book where she talks about
Yeah.
you either freeze up You fight or the flight.
Yeah.
There's three.
Yeah.
The three.
And mine are my freezing.
I
I'm
would
a
shut
freeze.
down.
Yeah.
I would shut everybody out and shut
Yeah.
down.
I freeze and isolate.
My husband
100%.
my husband would be a runner. He's
Yeah.
the flight. He runs from it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and then
Yeah.
there's other people that just fight. But that was interesting to
But
me.
that's the go-to strategy the child employed.
Yes.
Okay, so whenever that event gets triggered, the same survival strategy you employed as a child is going to automatically, without you even thinking about it, you're going to put it into play immediately. Okay, so think about somebody you're in the middle of an argument, say with your spouse, and he says, "I don't want to hear it anymore," and he walks away.
Yeah.
He's running.
Yep.
Right? But
Right.
you're the fighter.
Yeah.
You're like, get back here, get back here, I'm going to fight this out. And he's like, I'm out of here, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of tough because
Yeah.
now you got a runner and a fighter, right? At
Yeah.
the same time. But, this is where you got to become self-aware and realize
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you're the fighter. Calm down and talk
Right.
intelligently like a mature adult.
Right.
And you got to stop running away.
Yeah.
The only way we're going to resolve this is if we both look at ourselves,
Right.
right? And then come to the table
Right.
in a mature manner.
Yeah.
Well,
so
everybody needs to come and see Kelly. Kelly has an office. You have an office in Huntington. You have an
Yeah,
office in
yes.
Levittown.
Yes.
Huntington, I was teaching classes for a while. That's the Long Island Healing Arts and Learning Center,
Oh,
which
okay.
I also highly recommend. But once in a while, I'll see clients there, but I mostly see them in Levittown.
Okay.
Her
they could-
information will be on our Facebook.
Yeah.
It'll be on our
Yes.
website. It'll be on the Instagram. It'll be on
And
our
the books,
TikTok.
I found the books on Kindle. I read
Oh,
it on
yeah.
my Kindle. So read her books on
Yeah.
Kindle. They're
Now,
fabulous.
wait, your website is healthy. What
No,
is it?
it's Hearts in
Heart-
Harmony Hypnosis.
Hearts
Right,
in Harmony.
Hearts in
Hearts in
Harmony.
Harmony. Is it .com? No.
.com. Hearts
Dot
in
com.
Harmony
Hearts in
Hypnosis.
Harmony. Yes. yes.
Hypnosis.com. The
Yes.
books will also help you become self-aware. The movie's going to be fantastic.
Oh my gosh, it's
I
so
even
great.
wrote a song they're going to play at the end of the movie.
God.
It's great.
I can write it. I can't sing a song like you. My God, she's got some voice.
No, I do not.
Oh, yes, you do. I'm like, I said, well, she's got a beautiful voice. And that's when Susan said, that's Monica. No, she goes from Chasing Fabulous. I went, what? Wait, say that again? Chasing
I know her.
Wait, why is that so familiar to me?
Oh
wow,
my God,
what's
it
going
was
on?
so funny.
That was so
Thank
funny.
you so much for coming
Gosh,
on.
we
Thank
love
you
it.
for
And this show
having
is-
me.
This show
All
is
your
really,
insight.
really too short.
I know
just
it
say
is.
Like,
I know,
we
but
could
you-
literally talk for like 4 more hours.
Oh, we sure
But we're
can.
going to have her
She's
on again.
fabulous.
'cause we
I'd love
her.
to come back.
Fabulous.
I'd love
Thank
to
you
come
so
back.
Yes,
much.
we love it.
Thank you
Everybody
so
have a
much.
fabulous week. Thanks for tuning in.
Don't forget
We'll see you
Saturday we
again.
are at Windows on the
Yes,
Lake
Windows
with
on the
Poppy
Lake
Lane
pop-up
for
shop.
the St. Patrick's Day
Right.
event.
Oh,
And then
that's
Monday
Ellen.
Windows
I
on
love
the
Ellen.
Lake.
Yes.
Yeah, come, and then Monday is Domenico's.
Domenico's.
Ellen's another good friend.
Yes,
Nice
yes.
place.
All right.
Windows on the Lake.
Yep.
Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Bye,
Have a
everybody.
fabulous week.
Have a fabulous week.